How do you manage impact of volatility in the crude oil prices and the volatility in dollar rupees exchange rate?
I think there's been a huge volatility in the crude oil prices because just not crude oil prices going up on the basis of their demand and supply gap or the supply chain management that got disrupted due to the war. But I think the volatility also in terms of the rupee dollar parity. So when the dollar goes up, naturally, the input cost itself rises as dramatically by a couple of percentage. And beyond that, because supply chain management, there's a huge disturbance which is happening globally. But in spite of that, India has been able to manage that. But what happens, the downstream products like polypropylene and other things, which are cracked out of that, are a byproduct of the hydrocarbon, and they have their own value stream on the basis of the supply chain, let us say disturbance, or let us say the vacuum that gets created. So what happened was that the prices of crude or the, let us say the prices of petrol and diesel did not go up that much vis-a-vis the commodity prices, whether it is plastics or paper or steel, went up dramatically. So that's been a major challenge for most of the MSM industry in the country today. And that's how Government of India recognized this problem. And that is how they came up with a package where they not only reduced a tremendous amount of excise duty on petrol and diesel and so on and so forth, but also on various commodities like steel, plastics, etc. So that's been a big breather for the industry at this point of time.
How has been the inventory gains or losses in the last 5 years?
Sorry, please come back again, sir.
How has been the inventory gains or losses in the last 5 years?
Inventory gains, of course, I can't say that we have actually lost or gained. It is just because we have increased our SKUs dramatically to serve the every section of society. That is how inventory levels have actually gone up. And that is even not bothering us because if you see our inventory turnover ratio, that is abnormally high on the basis of the fact that our turnaround of the product cycle is very, very good. So sales versus returns and so on and so forth. So I think we have been able to reasonably manage that over a period of time. That's going to rise little more on the basis of the amount of SKU that we are going to introduce. So I don't really see that as a challenge. In fact, that is more of a benefit because the moment we are able to do a great amount of turnaround and also offer a lot of SKU, that will add to the top line of the company itself.
How do you compete with imported products and unorganized sector?
First of all, when it comes to imported product, incidentally, the product that we manufacture, most of those products are not imported. They are actually manufactured domestically because they are more like a commodity. Whereas the imported products that are coming into the country at this point of time, which are ranging from $10 to $20 to $30 or so, are actually not being manufactured in India because they are a little different product with a hybrid of steel as well as wooden, insertions and the legs, etc. And such kind of production abilities and facilities does not exist in the country today. Very few people are actually starting to do that, and a lot of that gets imported from China, especially, and Europe also. But progressively, because India is making strides and it is gaining traction and people have money to splurge, they're looking for great quality product. Avro wants to be in the forefront as far as bringing those products are concerned, so that instead of, let's say, $20 being a product price from the China, we could actually be delivering for less than $10 here, sold to the consumer itself. And when this starts happening, I believe in about 3 to 5 years down the line, we should be able to replace the 100% import product per se. So I don't really see any problem as far as import is concerned because they are not bothering us. We will import, substitute them. Two, when it comes to unorganized players, yes, there is a challenge, but because we have this demographic dividend in the country and all sections and all strata of people are there in the country, that is how whatever address that we are actually doing to the consumers are the middle class and upper middle class. But probably the first timer or maybe the villagers or maybe the G-class cities or lower strata of the economy, they prefer to buy products which are probably price conscious or maybe the qualitative they are not at par. So those products are getting sold. They are eating a certain small section of the consumer, but nevertheless, because upward mobile consumers are rising day in and out, it is helping us a lot because we are not only branded, but we are an established player. So that is where the traction, that sales, that volume, and that consumers' loyalty is actually coming to us in other form.
Have you any plans to manufacture pipes or industrial products?
No, sir, we do not want to manufacture pipes, but we certainly have a very good product category in the pipeline, which we are planning to introduce. I'm extremely sorry, I can't divulge the detail that we are trying to do, but that is something which is being used by the logistics to the pharmaceutical industry, to the entire India for that matter, and most of that gets imported from various countries. That is one thing. Plus, another thing, of course, I would like to now make that little more public is that we are also planning to get into dustbins, industrial dustbins, and on the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, wherever, because the consumption is rising. We haven't still gone to the B town, C town, etc. And I'm sure over a period of time, depending upon the kind of awareness, like say Indore is one of the finest city in terms of the cleanliness and all that, you will find dustbins everywhere, but that's not the case everywhere. So I think over a period of time, depending upon the kind of manufacturing ability that we all build up, and when government of India or state government as well as the CSR activity picks up, over a period of time, we expect that there's going to be huge demand and sales for that. So we are scouting and looking for such products also in the times to come.
What is your focus, value addition or developing new products?
Both, sir, because I believe if you don't develop new product, then we become history. Like it's like BlackBerry. They had a lot of value addition, but still, they became they became history only because they were not giving new models. So we believe that innovation is the first thing that we should be doing. And when we're talking about that, not only value addition in terms of the aesthetic, the quality, the strength, as well as certain amount of, let's say, cushion additions and certain amount additional benefit that a consumer can derive, we try to do that. And that, in spite of doing all those things, also we don't overcharge. We don't add up to the value, which increases dramatically by 100 or 200%. But a very marginal increase actually enhances the product's value as well as the customer's aspiration also. So we are in the process of doing both these things.
What is your overall strategy for growth?
Sir, I believe consumer is king. And if you're in the mind space of consumer, so it is just not the product. Sometimes the product might be great, but if the snob value and the value attached with it is not great, consumers may not prefer. So what we're trying to do is, though we are delivering world-class products, that is how we offer 3 years guarantee in certain select products. But now we're in the process of actually doing a certain amount of branding for our company, where we believe the moment people understand that we are a branded and we are a fast-growing company, we also offer quality products at a very reasonably, very, very low price, a very cheap price for that matter. So I think, we will certainly have a growth strategy coming in. The traction will happen. And it's like saying Patanjali picked up market in spite of so many FMCG. So we believe that we should be able to do some kind of magic like this over a period of time, depending upon the kind of branding that we do and the kind of mind space that we occupy of the consumers.
What is your investors' feedback on the performance of the company?
As such, at this point of time, I do not have too many investors' feedback because we just got migrated to main board on 7th April 2022. But I believe over a period of time, as much as I can see the comments coming from here and there, people are extremely happy because company delivered better results than FY21 to FY22, 22% top line growth and 73% bottom line growth. So I'm sure they are expecting more, and we will ensure and we will try to see and do whatever best justice that we can to ensure that not only investors are rewarded, consumers are also made happy, and all stakeholders get rewarded.
Can you quantify the recent reduction in duties on plastic will be able to generate for the company?
Sir, I'm not very, very sure about what kind of reduction of the plastic excise duty has been there. But what I assume is that government has probably given some relief to some sectors on some commodities. I do not have a very clear data on that. I will not be able to give numbers. I will have to go to the deep details of that. But as much as I can see, the domestic prices of polymers, they did go down a little more than what was expected. But I am not very sure how much impact it created because of the reduction in excise duty, because I don't have any data on the reduction of excise duty that has happened. But I believe prices are softening. But in spite of that, prices are still on the high side. And I believe and assume that at least 20 to 30% drop in the polymer prices should happen in the next maybe about 2 or 3 quarters or so, because there's an oversupply, then the demand that will start happening. And due to inflation, due to maybe certain small recession that is coming in, consumers' appetite has decreased a little bit. So I believe that, because consumption will be low, supply will be more, the supply chain management will be much better. Over a period of time, I believe that the inflation or the price rise that has happened should cool down, and that should really help the company also.
Any other useful and beneficial information for investors you would like to say, or your message for shareholders?
Well, I'd like to only say that, we as a company are working day in and out to ensure that we create great quality product, do a good distribution, a great branding, continue to sort of serve the consumers as much as possible, including all our stakeholders and shareholders. And while we are doing that, we not only believe that we will fill up the coffers of the government as well as of company itself, because we are in a huge expansion mode. We have a great leadership team here at my place. We, not only me, my 2 sons and a daughter-in-law, 4 of us working day in and out to ensure that we actually create this magic. So we have a great leadership team, strategy, product SKU, the expansion plan, the forward integration, the certain amount of product that we are trying to add in terms of verticals, but also backward integration. All these things will add up to overall top line and bottom line growth in times to come. And I think, as much as I can see, the moment we have this small traction happening on the basis of the consumer recall, or maybe a certain amount of mind space that we will occupy on the basis of branding and deep distribution that we are doing, we believe that, we should be able to actually deliver a better result, or even drive our company to the next growth level, which probably, we will be beating the peers in the sector. So I think, they can certainly believe and trust on us, and we'll ensure that, they are kept happy in times to come.
When can we expect big growth or jump in through expansion in the company?
I believe, sir, it will take another 1.5 years or so, where we are expecting certain traction or certain exponential growth that can happen, because we are in the process of building certain amount of more verticals and SKU over a period of time. Besides, we are also working on backward integration. So these things will start resulting. It may not be too much on the top line, but bottom line will certainly be a little more rosy and better than what it was earlier.
How you are able to move the bottom line up faster than the top line?
It's just, as I said, sir, we are working on a backward integration, and because we have started actually manufacturing recycled products ourselves at our own factory, so we believe the cost of input raw material will go down dramatically. And if that happens, and which is already happening at this point of time, and result into better profits for stakeholders and shareholders, and better amount of cash flows as well liquidity for the company also, so that it can fund its expansion plan that it's got in the offing. So we're in the process of doing that.
And certainly shareholders will be benefited by that growth.
Well, sir, we all believe that, all of us, not only me, my entire team, as well as everybody, all of us are working to ensure that, this company becomes an institution. It is just not an organization to do business or make profits, but, sustainable institution where, we protect environment, we have sustainability, and we have great governance. So we're trying to ensure that this ESG model is adopted in spirit, and that's how we will be able to deliver value to the entire ecosystem itself, for that matter, just not the business and profits alone.
So nice talking with you, sir.
Thank you, sir. My pleasure. Thank you, sir. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. We'll be in touch again.